All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to I Want Entertainment. We are here with Matthew Papa, Gamers Paradise 2, Level 2. A lot has happened since Phyllis was debugged. I'm gonna let Papa get straight into it. Don't worry about any timeline, like series of events. Just word vomit, get what you need off your chest. I'll equip you with questions and reminder that um episode one was true. Your confessionals were streamed to the VL. From here on out, they will not be. So speak candidly. Only production. I know. Only production will know this stuff, and I know you don't want Drew to hear stuff, so we won't show him this one.
Okay. Um, so a shit ton has happened.
Yes, notebook. I saw that.
Oh, it's just my Sharonica notes. Oops.
Not the throw Sharonica under the bus list.
Oh, and it's I'll get into that. Okay. So pretty much Phyllis went home. Yay, good. Whoop-de-doo, not surprised. I put 10 to 1, it was 10.5. Oops. I like kind of did that going around to everyone being like, let's do survival. Because I wanted to like get one out of the way before like someone like made a majority alliance and like they chose survival and like everyone that's not in the majority alliance wasn't picked, because like I feel like survival and racing are two very social rounds. To where like a majority alliance could really take that round and run with it. So I was like, if we get one of these out of the way while the game is still kind of newer and there's not like really deals happening, it'll be better long term, because like I don't want it to be like I'm in a like 8-7 minority and it's like racing, survival, because then it's like you're basically fucked. So I was like, let's choose this now. And then I'm literally going back on my words. I'm like, let's do racing next, but we'll get into that. It's because I'm in a majority now. Anyways, I think I'm in majority. And when I look back at this and I go home next round, I'm going to look like a clown, but I don't care. Brandon chose Autumn, which like, cool, whatever. But then she chose Tyler like instantly. And the more that I've been talking to Autumn, the more that I realize they have a 3 chat. And I don't think she realizes that she's actively telling me that. But I pick up from the cues that she's been saying. She'll talk about we a lot. And then when she was just talking to me right before this, she was crying because Sean said that she's being manipulated by like Brandon, Tyler, and me. And then she said, and when I talked to them about it, and she said, I just got on call with them. And I'm like, interesting, because normally when people talk to people individually, they'll be like, I got on call with this person and then this person. She said them. So that was like a thing in my mind, which I've already had my doubts about Tyler, but I mean, my alliance with Tyler, I already have a broken off section without him. And I had another alliance made without him and Kennedy anyways. So that safety chain was a fucking disaster. But honestly, it went kind of good for me, not exposing my hand, because Sharonica picked me and told me to pick Jackie, and like I needed to pick Jackie or Billy, in the hopes that you know, I wouldn't expose like, oh, I need to pick Kennedy, but like I also need to pick from my other alliance. So her being like, will you save Jackie? I'm like, yes. And then Jackie saved Billy, and it was like perfect, because then it was like they just made a deal all the way down. So I was like, thank God, both my alliances are safe. And then very quickly after that, I was like, well, fuck me. So Sharonica calls me like every night and like spills tea and says like, people are saying that you, Brandon, and Tyler are like this tough 3 and blah 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 blah. But like when I talk to people about it, they're like, the only person that's talking to me about that is Sharonica. So it's like, I think I'm catching on to her tactics, which like would work if she wasn't in a cast of like, you know, workers that have played for a while. I understand there's like some newer people, but like doing the whole, well, I've heard from this person, or I've heard from people that these people are doing this, is like a very old tactic. Like, I don't understand why we're trying to continue to use that when it obviously hasn't worked. So that's why I think she shifted her target from us to Billy right now, because she had concrete evidence on Billy and she doesn't have concrete evidence on us. But I did tell her I was willing to go for Tyler and Brandon eventually. Was that a lie? Yes, for now. But if they're like super tight with Autumn, that's something they'll worry about later. But I think right now we all need each other. So we're not gonna go for each other. I think it was amazing that Tasha won the challenge. And just based off of the reaction in the chat after Tasha won, it was very clear that the people that were like, oh my God, I'm going to vote to save Tasha, we're not going to vote to save Tasha. And I'm glad that she caught on to that. Now let's talk alliances, because I love alliances. So let's go through all of my alliance chats right now. I have the one that Phyllis added me to.
You sure you got them all down?
Oh, I'm just looking at my alliance thing. I'm not talking about one-on-one alliances. Don't call me out like that, Sandy. So I have this thing that Phyllis made that I don't call an alliance because it's not an alliance. I have lesbian love letter, which is me, Kennedy, Tyler, and Billy. Kennedy and Billy really wanted that. I could definitely tell Tyler didn't want it, but he'll take the information for now. And he's definitely using it, which like I don't care, because like right now he's kind of stuck needing me and the chat. So for now, he needs to deal with us. And then Billy, Jackie, Sean, and myself have an alliance chat because Jackie's like, I'm connected to all of you and I really trust you and blah, 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 blah. So we're in that, and Billy really wanted to stay loyal to that. And it's, child, I could talk for hours if I talked about all the shit that's been happening in the last 24 hours. But I don't trust that chat no more. Sean's been throwing my name out now. So I'm like, make up your mind. Like, you're literally just in this chat talking about how you're scared that you and Jackie are going to be nominated, but now you're throwing my name out there. So it's like, do you want to be a target or do you want to be a pawn? Because right now, I think you're going to be a pawn next to Sharonica. But like, if you keep acting up, people are going to want you on over Sharonica, which is going to be very wild considering Sharonica's a mess. But and then I have a chat, it's Brandon, Kennedy, and me, but like it was more of just like a call because of shit that happened with another alliance that was potentially made. So Sean came to me. Here, let's do some backstory. So Sharonica told me night 2 or 3, I forget which one it was, that Jackie had mentioned after the 2 chats were blown up, I guess it was night 3, after the 2 chats were blown up, that she was like, oh, the majority of the people left out were like POC and like we really need to stick together, blah, 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 blah. Which I'm like, cool, whatever. Well, then she's like, well, Jackie said like maybe not right now, like maybe we should like revisit it after she had talked to Sharonica about it. Well, then Sean came to me and he's like, well, me and Jackie want to make this alliance. And like, I talked to Jackie about this, and he's like, it's 8 people with 2 hidden people. And he was like, this is so funny. He goes, wait, you're PR, right? And then like sent a like Puerto Rican gif. And I was like, no, I'm not. And then the topic of that alliance shifted very quickly. And then the more that I realized it, the more Jackie's conversations, I guess, made sense. Because when Jackie was talking to me about the safety chain, she said, let me verbatim say what she said to me. Sorry, I have to scroll up. I can search in this chat. Yes, I can. But it's not going to show me it in this chat. From Jackie. Oh my God, girl. In, is it Papa? No, it's Jackie Papa. Yeah, here we go. Let's see. Okay, here it goes. So she goes, like, aside from you, me, and Sharonica, all of the other POCs were bottom tier. Hannah barely made it. Which, like, that comment went over my head at first because I was like, oh, maybe she just was like, oh, you, Jackie, or Sharonica chose you and you chose me. So it was like, cute. Like, yeah. Okay. But then after the alliance came to be, I was counting numbers and I was like, this doesn't make sense because if you want 8 and then 2, I'm like, wait a second. And then it all clicked because I know that Sharonica was really working on Garrett and Haley. She really had both of them like under her wing. And I think the 8 would have been me, Sean, Jackie, Sharonica, Romeo, Hannah, Benny, and King. And then the 2 would have been Haley and Garrett. But then after all this shit, the alliance got talked away. So I was like, first off, a 10-person alliance isn't ever going to work when we're going into 15. So why even mention 10? Like, I'm sorry, like anything over 4 is too much. Like, I just can't. So like the talk of 8 plus 2 was just way too much. And then I got added to I think it's 5-person chat. Yeah, I got added to a 5-person chat from Sean, and it's Benny, Romeo, Sean, Sharonica, and myself. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Well, Sharonica, I was on call with her, and literally like 12 hours before this chat was made, she's like, I really don't know if I want to work with them, blah, 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 blah. And then she got on call with Jackie, and she's like, I feel really good about Jackie now, this and that. Like, I want to work with a couple. I don't want to target them. Whatever. But then Sharonica was like, did you know everyone that's going to be in that chat? And I was like, no. I was like, I was approached about an alliance, but I didn't think it was this one. And she said, well, Sean talked to me about all the people. I mentioned adding you. And then she's like, I mentioned why wasn't Jackie in this chat? And she said that Sean said Jackie will make another alliance to get information, and that's why she's not in the chat. Which, like, shady boots. And why would you say that to someone? But it's probably Sharonica lying, but I'm gonna take that and run because I can. So yeah, and then my only other alliance is me, Billy, and Kennedy because we don't trust Tyler fully. Today's been a lot talking about what to do, who to save, what level to do next, and yeah, questions.
Are you nervous that the outing of the chat that you were added to, where you're like the only white person, do you think that letting the people who you're actually closer to in the game know about that? Do you think it's going to fall on you in the future at any point, or do you think that you've done a good job, or like the people you've told are good at not, oh, Papa told me?
I mean, I feel like as of currently, I feel like it's been pretty good about being low key about what's happening. I feel like after the debug, I think it'll be very clear that the alliance that I was added to and the potential alliance that was talked about is not going to be a thing. Because this chat that I'm in has Benny, and I am actively now working to get Benny out. Originally, I wanted King gone, but as shit progressed more and people have talked, it seems like Benny is definitely more the route to go. And so I think after this round, I think it's going to be pretty clear who's working with who. And I know a few people are like, I don't want to draw lines just yet. And I'm like, you're going to have to. If you don't want to draw lines, the line's going to be drawn right on you, and it's going to cross you right out, and you're going to be a target. Because if you're not with a side, like, you're gonna have to either pick one, or the sides are just gonna pick you out before anything because they don't want to flip flopper. So I think currently, as of right now, people are thankful for like the information about a big alliance potentially forming coming to light, because it's really putting like pressure on Sharonica and the couple. Because I think right now, if there were like 2 sides, the like leaders of the 2 sides would be like the couple with Sharonica next to them, and then like potentially, I guess, as Sharonica and Sean have been trying to push, like me, Brandon, and Tyler. But like, I wouldn't even see myself in like the power position of that, because I feel like once it hits a certain point, like I'm gonna be a target, because like I feel like I'm playing a teeny bit too hard. And by teeny I mean a lot. But I mean, I feel it felt like what I needed to do with the hand that I was dealt. Because if I would have just sat down and died and let Tasha go, and then Billy would have been the next target, like I know the next shot would have been at me, Brandon, or Tyler. And if Brandon and Tyler are really close with Autumn, and like it's me and Tyler on the block, they're gonna try to save Tyler over me. And I felt like decent with Autumn, not 100% about Brandon. So it's like those are right now 2 votes that are immediately against me. I mean, technically they might not count. I guess I could technically check. But yeah. Oh, I think my vote, or I think, yeah, my vote doesn't count on Brandon. So
I had another question. Oh, so after thinking about it myself today, I think that they might have thought you're Puerto Rican or some sort of Latino because of Papa. Like thinking like Papa, like Papi, because I call my boyfriend, I'm like Papi, Papa, Pa, Papa, you know? So like maybe they're used to that coming from a Puerto Rican. So when they're like, oh, I'm playing with a guy named Papa, like
it's just so random to me. Like y'all, okay, y'all that are watching, I literally had a whole breakdown. I was sobbing on call. I literally cried myself to sleep because I was so stressed out. Like oh my god, I was like, what do I do? Like this game, it's been 1 week exactly tonight, and Jesus Christ, I don't know.
so between Benny and King, earlier was King, now it's Benny. Ideally, just recap how you would ideally like this level to play out to set you up for the next level.
So I think for this level to set me up for the next one, Benny would go, but Benny already knows there's like starting to be a split on who wants to vote who, which like I don't care. Like once the votes come out, it's gonna show. But like we don't know Benny's type, we don't know King's type. So that's really gonna play a factor in who goes, especially if it is split. But right now I really don't care. If I do make it a split, like what are people gonna do? We tried to save King, so if King does go home, like I mean, like we have a list for what we're gonna do because we want to do racing next. So we already have a list that kind of has everyone numbered. So I mean, regardless of who goes home, I feel like if enough people send in that list, we could skew the results in our favor. But I think regardless of who goes home, my position is going to be a little more out there. And I feel like my position's already out there. So like I really don't care. I don't mind playing from like the forefront and out in the open. Because constantly playing behind the scenes is just kind of stupid. But I mean, in a perfect world, Benny would go home. I would be ranked number 1 in racing. So then it's very hard for me to be shoved all the way to the bottom. And Sharonica or Sean would go home this next round because we need to crack that main 3.
Okay. Now, thinking ahead a little bit, because you're not in danger of leaving really level 2. So let's think ahead to level 3. You talked about it a little bit, but you have your perspective on the game. You have the lay of the land with like what you know. What is one thing that you haven't done yet, or that you see needs to happen, maybe come level 3 or in the future, whether it's like a conversation with a pivotal person that you haven't had yet that needs to occur, or if it's getting these people on the same page by making a chat that has occurred. Like what's one thing that you know is probably going to have to happen that you need to happen? That makes any sense.
Um, I need to crack Garrett away from Sharonica's pussy because right now that is like an unbreakable bond. Like if I could just split it down the middle, Sharonica goes and Garrett's like, oh shit, what happened? And I could like kind of swoop in and get Garrett. Because I feel like once Sharonica's gone, Garrett's kind of in a weird kind of just like lull in the game where it's like he has been talking to people, but he truly doesn't know who he wants to work with. I think if I could kind of swoop in and get him, so that would have to be a conversation. I really need to let Garrett know about Sharonica's antics, in my opinion, as of right now. He's someone I haven't talked to about it yet. And from what I've heard from other people that have talked to him today, he understands that Sharonica may be bad for his game, but he wants to like basically go down with the ship so people think that he's loyal, which like I understand, but like in some of these levels, like racing and survival, like if you're gonna go down with the ship, you're gonna be on the ship as she's going home, like because you're gonna be in the bottom three, you might be nominated, like because as of right now, I have no reason.
Is that something you might reinforce to him or like mention when you talk to him?
Um, well, so Garrett's like kind of smart. So like I can't come in and be like, if you do this, like this is gonna happen because like I don't want him to like immediately run back to Sharonica. I need to save face until tomorrow with her because like once she's in racing and like if I get top five to the comp, like I'm showing my hand. I'm pushing her down. Like, and I totally expect, some mean chat blow up from her about how I can't be trusted or whatever, which like I don't care. But I think this conversation can't happen until either after Friday night's events or sometime Saturday. Because if I try to do it now, he could tip her off and it could piss her off more than I want her to be right now. Because right now, I still think I have like a little bit of like trust with her to where she's like not gonna fully come after me, but like once it's out that like I'm coming for her, like she's gonna be coming for me. So yeah.
What's your stance on the types? Did you receive the types?
Fucking sucks because I don't know who my vote doesn't count on yet. Literally all the types we don't know are fucking things that my vote don't count on. So I'm like, oh,
It's like helpful, but not.
we need to pull a little more votes because I'm like, if my vote don't count on one of these people, I'm like, this is bad. I feel like I need to ask. I think I need to tell Haley and Tasha, like, look, like if we are doing this move on Benny, like I need to know your types. I'm like, because if I don't know your types, like I don't think my vote counts. And that could be like a big difference on if Benny goes or if King goes. And because if King and Benny are my 2-0 votes, then I don't get a vote in this like debug at all. But like, oh, wait, is that how that works? I think. I don't know. Yeah, because everyone has two people. Yeah. So it's like I might not even have a vote at all. So I'm just like, I need Tasha and Haley, and I know Hannah won't spill hers, but like Tasha and Haley both said, like, I don't feel comfortable sharing mine right now. And it's like, I kind of need you to. Um, so it's a little worrisome for me, but I don't even know where to begin to start counting votes because it's like, if I don't know Kings and Bennies, what the fuck am I working with? I mean, I might be able to ask King. I might be able to be like, King, I really need to know this in order to save you. What is your type? I don't know if he'll tell me and if he'll tell me the truth. I mean, it feels like it doesn't hurt to ask him, but like, I don't want him freaking out either. Because then if he freaks out and he's like, oh shit, like, I might not have the votes to say, he might try to push harder and it might push people to be like, oh, I don't know now. Because I mean,
reverse it.
Yeah, we already saw Benny start to freak out. He's like, oh no, I heard that it's split now when I thought I was supposed to be staying. Like, what's going on? Because I heard that he was making his rounds today too, after he heard that. So it's like, I don't want King to like go and try to push with people like, are you sure you're keeping me? Because then I don't want it to turn into like a King doesn't trust us. Let's just vote him out anyways.
Okay. My final question is the 3 people so far in these 2 levels that you've grown to rely on and develop a trust with. So the top 3. And then the 3 people only so far, like so far in these first 2 levels that have, from your perspective, developed this feeling of like, okay, I need these people, whether it's like right away or like in the future, like who are the top 3 people that you're like, I need, they can't be here. If Matthew, Bob, and me want to be the winner, like these 3 people need to go, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's on day 37. 3 that you trust and 3 that need to go in order for you to win.
3 that I trust, Kennedy, obviously. I mean, I've been talking to her since day 1. And if she's using me for information and shit, cool. Like, then if she makes it to the end and I'm not there and her whole game is like, well, I did this and this and this, like, girl, you only did all that because of me. So like, you better find new game moves to make. Billy, especially after the conversation we had last night, I think he's definitely more attached to me than I originally thought he was. Because like I was a little skeptical about him, but it really seems like he wants to make it far with me. And I think if I was in the end with him, I would be able to kind of out talk him because I feel like I've been playing hard, like super hard from the beginning, and he was trying to like play low key, and he's doing like more kind of behind the scenes stuff. And I feel like with this cast, they're gonna respect more in your face gameplay than behind the scenes. And then not that. Let me finish this and then I'll say that. And then Autumn. Honestly, I was really, really, really skeptical about Autumn because I'm like, everyone keeps saying that they love Autumn. And I mean, I think she's in that chat with Brandon and Tyler. But she's called me a few times. And every time she calls me, it's good game stuff. And even if she's just reiterating shit I already know, she always at least adds on something else that I don't know. So I have some sort of bond with her. And I mean, she just cried with me on call because Sean kind of called her out. And I'm like, who was the first person she went to? In my mind, it was me. So I feel like there's some sort of bond there from in her mind. So I think that's good. I just need to get her split from Tyler and Brandon eventually. And then people that need to go eventually, obviously Sharonica, but I won't include her because I'm like, Sharonica needs to go. Honestly, Tyler, because he's being sneak boot, and I know that's normally how he plays. And he told Kennedy he doesn't like playing with people he knows, and he'd rather play with people that he doesn't know, i.e., Autumn and Brandon. So that's why I wouldn't be shocked if they were in a chat. Brandon, because he definitely could be social and like he's good with his words. So people are gonna tend to believe him more than not. And I feel like if I was sitting next to him on the block, I don't think I would stay next to him. And then honestly, right now, I think Romeo's in a really good spot because yes, he's in like the alliance that kind of got exposed, but like no one has any like no one said any bad things about him. No one's really targeting him. And he's just kind of like very chill and everyone likes him. So it's like I feel like if he was in the end, or close to the end, he would be like a hard social threat to beat. So yeah.
Perfect. If you have anything else that like maybe you didn't mention or just weren't in your notes that came to mind, feel free to vent. If not, I'm all out of questions for now.
The only thing I'm gonna finish with, oh, I fixed the development tag. I just tagged moderators. The only thing is Haley just messaged me. She's currently on call with Sharonica. And she said that Sharonica wants the gotcha round, and she wants to throw the comp so that her and Billy are next to each other on the block. Which like perfect. If you want to go on the block, go right ahead. Ain't no one stopping you. Like, if I'll warm up the seat for you. Hold on. Autumn knows well enough about that seat. Hold on. She'll get it warm for you too. So yeah, that's a mess. But I think that's it.
Well, it's been fantastic, Papa, watching you be present and invested and
being a
maneuver
mess
throughout this game. It's so good. I could have not imagined, because like I've never seen you play shit. I just know you as the host of Ascendants, right? Like I don't. So the fact that you're here playing and I get to see you, like you're like a slight little villain-ish, are you not? Like there's little villains. There's like villains. I wasn't expecting it, to be honest. So the fact that like I'm seeing it, I'm like, okay, it makes my gameplay feel like he's
I'm
in
a
the same boat as
villain.
me.
I'm a villain who puts on a hero face, and if anything or if anyone can say anything, it'll be Gwen going, "Okay, Miss Broadway actor" or whatever, in my chat. So thank you.
But yeah, I'm excited to see how you maneuver through the rest of this game. You're good for your confessional for this round. Reminder, tomorrow, 10 p.m. Eastern, live level 2 debug report, as well as the start of